Family, what's going on? Black Feniks checking in. Right now, I am inside of the welding shop, the HogOn University, and I wanted to talk to you about the secret to finding a welding job after welding school. A lot of people have asked me and inboxed me and inquired on, man, and they was like, man, how do you really get it, man? I've been having problems trying to get it because I'm fresh out of school. All of these welding jobs that's out here are asking for a 2, 3, 5 year experience. How can I get a job? I mean, how am I going to make something happen if they saying I need all this experience? I faced the same thing, family, in 2006. So this is 2021. When I was released from prison after a decade, after 10 years, I faced the same thing. The only difference was I had someone vouch for me saying that, hey, this guy's just getting out. He need an opportunity. Now, my opportunity started out at $8 an hour. $8 an hour. That's what I started out. Now, within 2 weeks or maybe 3, I got a bonus, a raise, so to speak, that got me to $10 an hour. So that's like $2. You know what I mean? But I was in this one small town in Newport, Arkansas, and getting $10 an hour at that time in that location, I was eating, so I had to learn my skills, and after a year later I started eating a little bit more. So once I started traveling, most of the jobs I had all this experience, but I didn't have the numbers. So literally, I got to tell you the secret. So let me get a little closer so you can see. Let me tell you what I did. I knew I could do the job, like just like you can. You're like, man, I know I can do this. I can drive the lift. I can do this. Like, you confident. Now, it's for those who get out of school and they're confident. You know you can do the job. So sometimes, you know what you have to do? You can't tell your left hand what your right hand is doing. You know what you got to do? Hey, you need to have 3 years experience in this flux core, this MIG welding to fabricate this, and you know you can do it. Tell them you got 3 years experience. Go on to get the job. If you get fired, at least you're gonna go and eat for a minute. But I'm gonna tell you what, I have did it before and I didn't get fired because I had the work ethics. I knew how to do it. I didn't have the years and I had to eat, so I put it down. See, man, a lot of times we try to play straight in a crooked system. Very, very crooked system. Like, the system is messed up. And they expect you to get out, do all this work, a year in school, 9 months, whatever you do, and you can't get no type of job. And some jobs, like I say, you even gonna have to be humble and get that little bit of money, like I did. I was like, well, something is better than nothing. So sometimes when you get out, you might have to be a welder's helper, or they might not throw you right into the welding field. Or if you know you can do it and you good, do what you got to do. Don't tell your left hand what your right hand is doing and go on and say, okay, I got the 2 years experience. Get the job and go on and do it and keep it up. Sometimes you can't try to play straight in a crooked system, and the system is messed up. It's like, you damned if you do, you damned if you don't. It's like a catch-22. You know what I mean? So I'm only going to tell you the secret. So you can't tell nobody else. You can't tell the employers. You know what I mean? Because I don't work for no one. So I'm telling you what to do if you're trying to get you a job, to get your experience up and get your money up, so that way you can be independent, because we got to learn from somewhere. And the best way to learn is to get paid too. You're going to get paid and learn at the same time. So that's how I look at a job. On the job experience, I'm getting paid, I'm learning at the same time. Once I get the experience I need, once I learn the system, I break off and do my own thing. But until then, we got to get it from somewhere. So if you're not under someone that's running the company and you get in the game that way, you might have to get it on the job, this job, that job. I use jobs like ATMs. You know what I'm saying? When I was in Phoenix, that's how I end up networking my system. I network independently, and when I showed up, I might have to show up in this shirt. I might have to show up in this shirt. I had many different shirts to show you. Sometimes you got to take a shirt off and put another one on to do what you got to do to wear your own shirt, to get your haul on. You see what I'm saying? And so in order for you to do your thing, you have to do that. So stop telling your right hand or your left hand what your right hand is doing, and go on and do what you need to do. If you know you can do the job, if you know you're capable, if you know you can pass the weld test, then tell them what you got to tell them. You got to feed your family. Even you're going to try to be modest and starve, or you're going to feed your family. It's to each his own. But I'm going to tell you what I did. That's how I survived. That was better than going and try to rob somebody or selling some drugs. So my option was like, man, I'm gonna starve, or I'm gonna go in here and tell them I got 2 years experience and I know I only got a year or 6 months or whatever. You know what I mean? You got to do what you got to do. So all I'm saying is don't hold yourself back in the society. We know things are not fair. You know, it used to be a saying we used to say, and I used to say this, man, it's hard, but it's fair. It's hard and it's not fair. Especially if you a black native African American, if you a black person in America, it most definitely is not fair for us. You know, it is what it is. You know what I mean? So we have to take the good with the bad and just roll with it, make our own opportunities and find our own happiness. But one thing we cannot do is wait on somebody else. Stop waiting on them. I'm gonna tell you what I learned from a wealthy man in Fayetteville, Arkansas. When I first jumped into my independent business and got my first building, the guy I rented from for my first year that I rented this building from gave me some most valuable game, man. The man gave me some valuable game that I use to this day. And I'm gonna give it to you right now. I'm gonna give it to you now for free. He told me, stop waiting on someone to do what you can do yourself. Stop asking for permission and just ask for forgiveness. Meaning, sometimes when you're trying to go to people and their employees and they in the system, they'll slow you down because you're independent. You're thinking independent, you're trying to do something, and all they thinking is, man, he putting more work on me. I'm about to get ready to get off for so and so. He said, man, just do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. And if someone comes and say, man, you know you got to do this, oh, I apologize. Do I need to pay this? Okay, I won't do it again. But you didn't already did what you had to do. That's what he told me. He said, man, if I would have been sitting around waiting on them to approve this and approve that and do this and do this, I never had nothing. I just did what I had to do and dealt with the consequences. You know, as long as I know I wasn't, killing nobody, I wasn't breaking the law, man, hey, I got to get this done. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't sit around and wait on someone or try to play straight. And I know they playing a crooked system. I know it's a crooked system. I know it's a crooked game. So I just want to encourage you and say, do what you need to do. If you're trying to find a job, you got the experience. Tell them what you need to tell them to get the job. Do what you have to do. I'm just going to be bold enough to tell you, do what you have to do. Someone got to tell you. You know what I mean? So I'm going live and telling you, hey, this is between us. Do what you have to do. Don't tell your left hand what your right hand is doing. I can't stress that enough. Like, we got to be able to be confident in ourselves, especially if you're confident. I'm going to tell you something. Before I leave, it was a story of a white gentleman who was trying to get this specific job in Hollywood, and he didn't know exactly how to do it, but he really had the desire to do it. So what he did, he lied and said he could do it, and he got a job. Got fired within a couple days because he didn't know what he was doing. But then he got a little experience when he got another one. And he got hired, he stayed long enough to get another check and got fired and got another one. He did that several times until he actually learned how to do what he was trying to do, and then he got that position. Meanwhile, we waiting on the position. Create one for yourself, man. Like, when I heard that story and I seen this guy's success, all I could think of is like, man, sometimes the audacity of someone is what we'll say. I can't believe he did it like that. Do what you got to do. Whatever. I seen a dude pull up with a full welding rig in a car. He didn't have a truck. Didn't have the money for a truck. But he had a car. He had a trunk. He had everything he needed in the trunk. Bam, he popped trunk. He only did certain jobs that he could plug up in. 220 or 110, 120 volt. Them the only jobs he did because that was the equipment he had. And I seen him hustling out his trunk until he got the truck he needed. You see what I'm saying? So sometimes I think we limit ourselves with, man, they said this. So-and-so just closed the door. Okay, we'll go open up a window. You know what I'm saying? Keep going, because in life we're going to always face something. And that's why HogOn means what it means. And for those who don't know what it means, let me refresh you. In times like this is the meaning of HogOn. Hustling over grounded obstacles naturally. Hustling over grounded obstacles naturally, because we're going to face things. and we got to hustle over them naturally. We're gonna have to overcome them. We got to get our hog on. That's one thing that I love to say about being a hog. We're not domestic. Once we're hungry, we're gonna have to go out here and figure out a way to eat. We can't sit there. We're not no dogs. Ain't nobody gonna put no bowl out here for us. Ain't nobody gonna sit no bowl, or we're not no cats. They gonna put no milk out here and say, "Oh, here goes some catfish. Here goes some tuna fish. I mean, here goes this. A nice little bowl or something." Nah, we hogs. If we get hungry and we don't get out here and go kill something and hunt something for the day, then we're not eating, family. So that's why I get my hog on, because I learned that the system just isn't fair for us. And for those who are trying to approach the system and maybe in an area and you can't figure it out, hey, use it. But most definitely for our people, for black people, it's not fair. So we just have to do what we have to do and get over the hump until we build our own. But just like I like to say, I did 10 years in prison and I got out and I worked for someone for 10 years. I knew that I had to equal it out. I had to learn the system, in order for me to branch out and actually find some independence. So everybody time frame is different. But you're gonna have to learn that you can't ask for permission in a system that sometimes don't want you to win anyway. It's always got some red tape somewhere. So you're gonna have to figure out a way. And just like our former president said, he said, "Don't get mad at me because I'm using the loopholes that was designed by the system." That's what he said. That's what Trump said. He said, "Don't get mad at me that I'm using the loopholes that was created by the system." I guess you need to learn the loopholes. Pretty much what he was saying, you know what I mean? So I just thinking like, boy, that was some slick stuff he said, you know what I mean? So I just want to say the secret is, once you got the skill set, once you got the knowledge, once you know you can do the job, do what you got to do. If they say you got to have 3 years experience and you only got 1.5, but you can do it and you need to get this to feed your family, do what you got to do. Should nobody tell you that. You know what I mean? I remember my mom used to say that, man, if everybody in the house broken, you can figure out something. You got kids to feed. If you ain't hurt nobody, you need to figure something out. Come on now. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. You can't play no game and just think it's gonna work out. You know what I'm saying? So you got to figure it out. So that's why I hustle, man. Sometimes you see a lot of times I'm isolated. I'm always doing my own thing. And being independent is like that sometimes. Sometimes you're going to have to figure it out. And I don't know the answer to everything. I can only give you my experience on what I use and how I got ahead. And that was not asking for permission, family. I just did what I had to do. And that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to do what you have to do. So the secret is doing it without telling. It is what it is. Do what you got to do. And if, like that guy that in that story I told you, he got fired several times. And if you get fired several times, you get another job. It is what it is. A job is a basketball, family, before I leave. And remember this because I learned this and it's very valuable. Your loved ones, your spirituality, your real friends, those things are like glass balls. If we drop them, it might crack them, damage them, break them, scratch them, something. But it's going to always be a blemish on that ball. You see what I'm saying? But a job, family, it's like a basketball. You can bounce it all day. You can bounce it up a court. You can play in a different city. You can go travel this. You can go overseas. It's a basketball. It's made to bounce around. It's not made to hold you and keep you captive. It's just a job. So once you realize it's just a job, bounce and get you another one when that time comes. But get your hog on right now. Hog on.